Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Daily Confidence for Entrepreneurs. My name is Mostafa Hosseini, and today I have an amazing guest, Jeff Heggie. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to be here with you.
It is great to have you. So I'm going to do the introduction here and then tell you about who we are, what we do, and then I'll get to do the proper introduction for Jeff. So at Daily Confidence for Entrepreneurs, our purpose and our goal is to help entrepreneurs with their confidence and self-esteem and help them improve their confidence in an area of business. We share tips and actionable advice that you could use on a daily basis, hence daily confidence. And that's basically what we do. If you haven't done so already, grab our checklist of 52 things that you could do to boost your confidence instantly from the following link that I'm going to post in the comments here. This is a list of 52 things that I have gathered over the past 20 years that you could do and instantly boost your confidence. Now, later in the show, we're going to be giving away gifts. And for you to qualify for the draw for the gift, you got to like and subscribe and comment as we talk here with Jeff and ask questions about what we talk about and or tag a friend in the comments that could potentially use and benefit from the conversation that we're having and from topic that we're discussing. So welcome, Jeff. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Fantastic. So let me do the proper introduction to Jeff here, and we're going to get right into it. So Jeff has been an entrepreneur all his life and comes from a diverse background. Spent a number of years as a professional rodeo cowboy, spent some time in the banking industry, real estate, has coached basketball for the past 20 years. Wow, you've been doing a lot. In 2005, he walked away from a great job as a bank manager to start making rocks. He founded Kodiak Mountain Stone with one of his mentors, which was a company that manufactured artificial stone veneer. As they faced a number of challenges in the building industry since 2005, they have pivoted Kodiak a number of times. They're no longer in the manufacturing side of business and now focus on distribution with a focus on Southern Alberta and Phoenix. So, by the way, I have found another Southern Albertan to chat with. Over the years, Jeff has had the opportunity to mentor and coach many other entrepreneurs. With his years of entrepreneurial experience, along with his banking experience and much training, this has become a passion for him. He still operates as the CEO of Kodiak Mountain Stone, but also puts a lot of focus into his coaching, courses, and masterminds to help other entrepreneurs develop the mindset and tools that is required to take their lives and businesses to the next level. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and thanks for that introduction.
Fantastic. It's good to find another Southern Albertan that lives in the U.S. We were introduced through some mutual friends. It is good to see you. How's your day going?
Yeah, it's going great. I grew up in Southern Alberta, lived there till 2016, and then because of what we were trying to do with some of the things with Kodiak Mountain Stone, I actually moved to Arizona at that time, strictly for the purpose of extending our season because winters are a little bit warmer here.
Beautiful. So I understand our topic is building confidence with powerful self-talk. Now, I love that topic, and I can't wait to explore and dig into that topic and learn more from you. And hopefully people that are watching and listening later can benefit from that as well. So please tell us, what is your story?
So my story, a lot of it you already recapped in the intro there, but quite a diverse background from professional rodeo cowboy to banker, doing some real estate, stuff like that. And then I got into the banking industry, which I loved. It was a great opportunity to meet people and, really have an opportunity to sit down with people and dissect their businesses and see those sort of things. And then in 2005, one of my banking clients had given me the idea to start a stone company, which I didn't have experience in, but I found someone in Missouri that was able to train me, and we started Kodiak Mountain Stone. for those that do know Southern Alberta, we started it in Levitt, Alberta. And, over time we moved it to Cardston, and then we opened another factory in Utah, and then grew it from there. And like you said, now we're strictly in the distribution part of it. We don't do the manufacturing anymore. But one of the things throughout the years since 2005, I had a lot of conversations with one of my partners that's my CFO that, from the things we've learned as entrepreneurs and just the opportunities we had during that process to mentor other people, I'd love the opportunity to become a coach. And there's a couple of years ago, he introduced me to one of his other clients that has a similar background to me. He was in the manufacturing, in the housing industry, and now he's a very successful coach. And I sat down with him one day, and he basically said, why aren't you doing it? And that kind of, I guess, gave me the confidence to kind of take that step forward and put myself out there. And I started doing the coaching. I've had some great experience with some one-on-one coaching, been able to put some online courses together, and it's turned into a lot of things with the coaching, the courses, mastermind groups, and 2 podcasts now. So that brings us here.
Love it. And so tell us, what do you mean by self-talk? What actually is self-talk?
I've worked with a lot of clients that once they can get a handle on their self-talk, it can change everything for them. Because if you think about the conversations you have in your head, they're going all the time, and they're almost always in the form of questions. But there's so often that it's in the form of negative questions. Why can't I do that? Or why do I think I could do that? And those sort of things. And when you start to get a handle on being able to control that self-talk and the questions that you're asking yourself, you can have drastically better outcomes than when you're having those negative conversations in your head.
Yep. I have firsthand experience with this, and at some point, I started writing down my self-talk and becoming more aware of it, and it made a massive impact. I can't wait to explore this further and see what comes out of it. So, how does self-talk impact our confidence?
The way I look at it is, when you're looking at your confidence, there's kind of a pattern of how things work. And it's, starts with, if you look at 4 squares and they're going in a clockwise pattern, and you start with potential. You take your potential, you put all your potential into action, and you're going to get results. And those results help your belief and certainty. And, the more belief and certainty you have in yourself, it just increases your potential, and it kind of is it's a success cycle. And as we can improve our self-talk and improve the things that we're having going on in our head, that belief and certainty can rise to another level, which helps our potential and our actions and our results rise in conjunction with it. And so we're able to increase our confidence, because as we get better results, our confidence is automatically going to grow with that.
You got it. So what are some of the ways that we can go about changing our self-talk?
Yes, that's a great question, because what you had mentioned, what you started doing, writing them down, is a great thing to do. And what I like to teach, I guess to take a step back from that first, is if you've heard of RAS, or reticular activating system, that's basically a filter in your brain to filter out things that are important to you. It's what goes into action when, the example I use a lot of times is when we moved here to Arizona, I bought my daughter a Mitsubishi Spider convertible car. One, I'd never seen them in my life. And we get this car, and all of a sudden I started seeing it everywhere. And it's not that all of a sudden they showed up at the same time that we bought that. They were already there, but now it was something that my brain was recognizing, and I was seeing it. It was just like when a woman buys a dress and all of a sudden she sees other women wearing that dress. It's what's important to you. And so, to go along with what you were saying about writing it down, one of the things I teach is I split it up into monthly, weekly, and then daily. But on a daily basis, I've got a list of questions that I have people go through every morning. And what that does is it creates things in their minds that it's going to help them, the RIS, recognize that these are important things to them. And, you know, as they go through those questions, it'll help them with their own self-talk, help them with the questions they're having on a regular basis in their mind. And then at the end of the day, there's another set of questions that kind of relates to it. And so it's the habitual questions that you're continually asking in your mind. And so when you're conscious about asking yourself questions every morning, every evening, and then paying attention to those throughout the day, you can gain a lot more control on that self-talk you're having. So when you do ask, all of a sudden you find yourself asking yourself a negative question, it's still going to happen, but you can recognize it and you can reframe it and look at it in a different way.
Love it. Welcome, Sharice. It's good to see you. She says it's all about RIS. Love this. Yeah, I think awareness is a massive part of this, and self-talk is a huge topic. And I believe, and my experience has been that self-talk basically largely determines our results and our future and what we have and what we don't have. Because I don't know if I learned this from Napoleon Hill or a bunch of other gurus that he says something along the lines of, you become what you think about most of the time. And your self-talk is what you think about most of the time. So in your head, if you're talking and thinking negatively, you're gonna make that, you're gonna attract that. You're gonna make it happen. So the first step, I agree with you 100%, is to gain awareness of what is happening in there. And, you know, then once you gain awareness, you can start working on changing things around.
Absolutely. And, you know, I another quote that I heard was, if people realized the damage negative self-talk can do, they'd never have a negative thought again. But,
absolutely,
you know, just like you're saying with Napoleon Hill, you look at some of those classic books that have had such impact. They're all about thinking, you know, as a man thinketh, think and grow rich. And it's all on the mind.
So I just started reading a book from Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. Have you read that book?
I have.
And it's all about negative thought.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And it seems like I didn't know about it. And it seems like it was just released just a few years ago. They were holding back on releasing it, and recently they just released it. And I'm like halfway through, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, no, it was actually, I can't remember if it's in the book or where I read it, but yeah, it talked about how he didn't want to release that, and so that's why it was just recently released, because of some of the content in it. But it's amazing.
It is amazing. So what's your story behind self-talk? How did you get into this?
You know, I think it was probably some of the training I did through Tony Robbins that got me thinking about it. But I was actually part of a international summit a while ago that was focused on women entrepreneurs, and they just left it wide open for me to pick a topic that I wanted to talk about. And so it gave me the opportunity. I mean, stuff like Napoleon Hill and all those different things I had been studying for so long, and I knew the power of what it could do. And so the more I studied, I made the decision that that's what I wanted to speak about at the summit. And it just turned into something that the more I studied it, the more power I saw behind it, and the more I started to teach it to people I was working with. And yeah, it's just kind of morphed from there. And it's just been a subject that I've loved, because as I've seen people implement some of the things and the successes they're having with it, it's just something I think more and more people need to be aware of.
Absolutely. So what did the process look like for you? What was the change? What was the how did it look like for you?
I think the first part was when I started really putting a lot more thought and effort into it, was the first time that I was just like, whoa, I just had that thought. It was a negative thought, and I'm making myself aware of it. And rather than just kind of continuing on with that, it was a realization that, like I said earlier, you're still going to have those thoughts. You're going to have negative thoughts, and it's a matter of being able to be aware of them so that you can change that and change that conversation that's going on in your head.
Mm-hmm. I just remembered another quote, a quote from, I think it was from Winston Churchill, that where he said, and I'm paraphrasing and I may be butchering it, but he said, I don't know about positive thinking, but I know that negative thinking usually works negatively.
Right.
So I mean, when you focus on the negatives, it usually brings in the negatives. And I've had experience with that. When I'm like running around and fighting myself and other people in my head, I usually don't have a good day, and the results are not that great.
Right. Exactly.
But when I do the positive, usually the day and the results are much, much, much better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's outstanding how when you're starting to pay attention to those things that you may not even have recognized it previously, but when you're paying attention to it, you realize, hey, when I'm starting to focus on the positive thoughts and changing that conversation in my head, I'm having a lot better day. At the end of the day, I'm less stressed. I'm accomplishing things. My day was crazy, but I was able to keep it under control and still accomplish the goals that I had for the day.
Good stuff. So how do you help people to change their self-talk? What does that process look like for you?
Um, you know, I start with helping them to understand the concepts behind it and all those things. And then as I went through earlier with the success cycle and the momentum cycle, I try to teach them that, where, looking at potential, your actions, your results, and your belief and certainty, and how that all works together, and building your confidence, and how doing each of those things, how the self-talk plays into itself. But it's like we were saying a moment ago, it's the more that you're aware of it, the more you can start having an impact on it. And I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure that you're aware of it, so that when those negative things enter your mind, and there's lots, I've had experiences with people when they're like, yeah, it was all great, and then something happened and it triggered me, and I knew I was having those negative thoughts in my mind, but I was triggered and I didn't care that I had those negative thoughts, and I was just going with it. And so it's even though they weren't able to switch those thoughts right then, there was still the benefit of they recognized it. And, it took a little longer, but the discipline helped them to recognize that. And then down the road made things better and better.
Oh, absolutely. So Cherie says, maybe you are what you eat should be you are what you think. So,
That's true. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So for those of you who are joining us later, we're talking about building confidence with a powerful self-talk. So I think as human beings, a lot of us catch ourselves, or maybe not even catch ourselves, where like during the day or during the week, we spend a whole bunch of time in our head dealing with things that don't even exist, like in a negative type of situation, imagining if someone did this or said that or didn't do what they were supposed to do. And then next thing, and I've done this, and I probably do it still to a certain degree, where I catch myself, I've been struggling with something that doesn't even exist for like 3 hours. And I'm struggling in my head with someone, and then it doesn't even exist. It hasn't even happened yet. And so this is an essential topic for business owners, for everybody, I guess. But so the purpose of our show is to help business owners. So that's what we're focusing on. So tell us about your momentum cycle. What is that about?
So in there, it's just, when things started with the pandemic, I thought, there's going to be a lot of things just come crashing down on people throughout this. And I wanted to look at a way that I thought I could help people somehow. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just created this momentum series, and it's just 3 videos. And in the first one, I really talk about the momentum cycle or the success cycle and spend a lot of time explaining how that works and, using different analogies and different examples from it and stuff, and showing how you can purposely change things through things like self-talk, that you can create a better future and create better outcomes by doing those ahead of time. And so I do that. And then in the second part of the series, what I help them focus on is figuring out where they want to go. Because, one, people were losing jobs, people were out of work, all the different things that have been happening. Where do they truly want to go? And looking at it as, this is devastating. All these different things that are happening, sicknesses and economy, all the things. But there's some incredible opportunities that coming out of this. You look at every downturn in the economy throughout history, some of the biggest companies that exist today came out of bad times. And so that's one of the things we need to start with, is just having that self-talk and convincing ourselves that, maybe I just lost my job. This sucks. But you know what else? It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
I get to start fresh. There's no better time to start fresh. You can start now. If you've always wanted to be starting a business, now's the time. And
Absolutely.
so in the second series, what I do is help people figure out where they go and what the path is to get there. And then in the final part, it's probably what I feel is the most important part of it, is figuring out why. So we look at each one of those things, those goals that we set up in the second one, and determine what the why is behind it. And I go through a process that I learned through Dean Graziosi that teaches basically you look at, okay, this is my goal. Why do I want that? And, as you go through this process, you realize that why do you want that is really on the surface. That as you start digging down, there's a lot deeper why to it. And once you can figure out that real why behind it, what the real why is, then you've got the motivation. Then you've got the real reason that when things get tough, when you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, that why is what's going to push you through. And so that's what my hope was, is to put all this together, that people can go through this and realize that, regardless of what we're going through right now, let's make the best out of it. Let's make this an opportunity and, change our lives.
You got it. So I understand you also have a book. Can you tell us about your book, please?
Yeah, there's a couple. I've got a couple ebooks on there, and I'm actually in the process of just being a co-author on another book. But the one that is most applicable to what we're talking about is Fear into Fuel. And what it is that summit that I had mentioned earlier when I spoke on this topic, is there is 18 coaches from around the world that were participating in it, and we each wrote a chapter in this book. And so in this book, that's what my chapter is on this topic.
Got it. And what's the title of the book?
Fear into Fuel.
Fear into Fuel.
Yes.
Fantastic. Now, Jeff, tell us about yourself. What do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? One of the things that I've loved about the pandemic, especially during lockdown, was it locked my whole family here. At nights my older kids weren't out with their friends and going and doing their things. All our lives, all my kids have been involved in sports and stuff, and I've been a coach, and so it's evenings, no one's around. We've had a lot of opportunity to spend time together. We've played a lot of board games, card games, and stuff like that. But other than that, I've dedicated a lot of my life to my kids for a long time. That's how I had mentioned I've been coaching basketball for 20 years. Most of that has been involved in coaching my kids to some degree. So I really enjoy that. I mean, even this morning, got up this morning, went for a run, and then spent a couple hours in the gym with my daughter shooting hoops. So a lot of our fun time is focused around family stuff. When it's not a pandemic, we love traveling. But yeah, those are some of the things we really love doing. My son is a football player. My daughter's going on to play college basketball right now. So we love supporting them in the things they're doing.
Wow. Good for you, man. You must have started having kids pretty early, right?
Well, so my oldest, my daughter is 20. She just returned home from a mission she served for our church, and she's going on to play college basketball now. And then my son is going into his senior year. Then I've got another daughter that's 13, and then my youngest son is 9.
Very nice. Very nice. Good for you. Love it. Love it. Love it. Jeff, do you have any processes to say boost your confidence when you realize you're not feeling good?
Yeah. What I like to, I'll actually share a bit of a story with it. Is
Sure.
One, knowing your why, because that's going to be your real motivation of doing it. But it's actually something I talk about in the Momentum series, and it's basically creating the results in private is where you're going to get rewarded in public. So going back to, what would it be, 19? Yes, it would have been the 2019 NBA playoffs. The Golden State Warriors were playing the Houston Rockets, and Houston had just beat the Utah Jazz. And what had happened? Klay Thompson is one of the elite shooters in the NBA, and I think we were in game 3, and he had been playing terrible, couldn't make a shot. And it was funny because for the games before, the commentators kept telling, oh, he's in a slump, he can't hit anything. But the funny thing is, you watched him, and just because he wasn't making things, he didn't stop shooting. He kept shooting, Then we got into this, I believe, I don't remember if it's game 3 or game 5. In the first 5 minutes of that game, he had more points than he had in the rest of the series altogether. And they're talking about it. Oh, it's his shots back. He's out of his slump, and he's going on and on about that. And basically, the reason I use that as an example is, looking at what he's done in private to be rewarded in public. He didn't stop shooting because he knows he's put years and years and years of practice into this skill. And there's not a shot that he can take in a game that he hasn't taken in practice and made. And he knows that he's got that skill. He can capitalize on that skill. He just needed to get things rolling again. And so I think, when we're working on a skill that we have, or whatever we're doing, if we reflect back on everything we've put into that, or the times in the past that we have had success, then that's going to allow you to look forward and say, okay, things are crappy right now or whatever, but I've put the time in, I've worked at this, I know I've got the capabilities to do it, and I've just got to have the belief and certainty in myself that I can keep going and have that confidence. There's actually Derek Savers, I believe is his name. He said, even when everything's going terrible, I have no reason to be confident. I just decide to be. And so I think that's part of it too, is having that self-talk, just, I'm going to be confident. And that's going to allow you to get there. That's when, you're going to take those actions, you're going to start getting the results back. And then your belief and certainty are going to build up, and you're going to be able to get it back. So as long as you know your why behind what you're doing, and you've got the abilities and capabilities to do that, you should be able to get your confidence back and be able to build on that.
Love it. Yeah, knowing your why, and I think knowing your goals helps quite a bit in moving forward and boosting confidence. Like every time I feel like I'm not achieving much, or I feel like I'm hitting a failure, or you know, things are not working the way I want it to.
Yeah.
One of the things I do is I grab my bucket list and I review my bucket list, and that reminds me very quickly that this is where I'm going. These are the stuff that I'm going to do, and what's happening right now is kind of temporary, and we're not going to stay here. And so
Right.
going back to your why has the same effect as this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And what's happening is, you know, it may happen for like a day or two or a week or two, and bam, it's over. Then we're going to move forward and reach our goal and serve our purpose.
Absolutely. And that, you know, going back to those mindset questions that I ask myself every day and every evening, the other thing I do every morning when I go through those is I write out my goals. Even though I wrote them out the day before, every day I write them out. So that's just the same as going to your bucket list. Is that's
Love
just
it.
reaffirming those things in your mind.
So what I do is I actually read out my goals. I have it printed out. It's about 6 pages long about what my life should look like, and I have spent quite a bit of time to sit down and basically write down exactly what I want each like component of my life to look like. So I read it out loud. It takes me about half an hour to go through the whole thing, but boy, do I feel good. And I don't do it every day, but I do it often, which is, I don't know if I should talk about it here right now, but one of the things that actually has worked for me in the past 20 years is reading my goals every day or as often as possible. Like everything that I put down on that piece of paper has happened. You know?
Well, one of the things about that too is your RAS. When you're
Exactly.
that often, your brain, you know, something that might happen that you normally wouldn't even have the attention to or recognize, your brain's going to help you recognize, hey, that's going to help me achieve that goal. And I know that's
Exactly.
important because I've gone through it so many times. I love that.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I'm with you 100%. And this is something we talk about in our course as well, is that once you remind yourself and remind our reticular activating system that I want you to find clues to help me reach this goal. And the more you remind your brain about that on a daily basis, the more that goal stays on top of your mind, and you get there faster. It's just a logical process.
Yep,
You know.
absolutely.
So I understand that you've got a couple of gifts that you're giving away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which we
I
put the
noticed you
link
put
in
the link
the
up there.
comments.
So if you go to that link, it'll take you to, you can get that book that we were just talking about. And you know, I'd love you to go there, get that book and read my chapter in there. It's going to go into more detail about some of these things I've talked about, but it's also got 17 other chapters from different coaches from all different backgrounds and actually from all around the world. The lady that organized this was from the Czech Republic, and we've got some great content in there. And then also you can get the momentum training at that and grab that and go through these 3 videos. And I know they will help you to, you know, get some of these things going for you and build your confidence and help you to have a bigger future.
Love it. So again, the momentum training from Jeff and his book. What was the title of the book again?
Fear into Fuel.
Fear into Fuel. You got these 2 gifts from Jeff. You got a 3 video series from Momentum Training, which helps you boost your confidence. Going to dailyconfidence.show/gifts. And in there, you get Jeff's gifts and gifts from our previous guests. And the library of the gifts is just adding up as we have with, you know, every week as we have our guests. You know, we keep adding more gifts to that library. So go there and get in and work on boosting your confidence. So thanks. By the way, thanks for you know, providing the gifts.
Absolutely. Happy to do it.
Not even one.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. So I always ask this question from my guests, and the question is, if you had a Facebook ad that everyone on the planet would see with your message, what would that ad say for you?
Wow, that's a good one. I think it would say, learn how to create a bigger future with the proper self-talk.
Love it. Love it. Love it. One more point I want to make on that self-talk is that if you have a goal, say, to make $100,000 this year, right? And if your self-talk is against it, it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
And so that's a problem with most people that have a problem reaching their goals, is because their inner talk or their self-talk is against the goal that they have set. And so consciously they are pursuing that goal of $100,000 or $1 million, but internally and subconsciously they have something against it. So unless you fix this self-talk, it is unlikely to happen. I'm sure there are exceptions out there.
If they've said that's their goal, and even if they're writing it out and reading it every day, but in their mind being like, well, that's really out of my reach, I'm not really going to do it. But I hope it happens. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, if you in your mind you're going, who are you kidding? It's not going to work. Absolutely. Good. Now, Jeff, any parting words, anything you want to mention that I haven't asked before we get going?
No, I love this. I do this, but I also do business coaching, and so I love that as well. And then again, just to mention, I've got a couple podcasts. They should check out the Jeff and Heidi Show, episode 24. That would be your episode. It's a great episode, so thank you for being on that. But
thank you. Thanks for having me.
And just they can find me at jeffheggie.com.
Fantastic. Jeff, I don't know if you can, but please go ahead and put your link in the comments here.
Absolutely.
You have access to that, to the comments?
Actually, no, I just have it on the chat. I can put it in there for you.
In the chat. There you go. And so, gang, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Jeff, for sharing your experience and your amazing gifts that you're sharing for people to change their self-talk and boost their confidence, which in turn will help them with their life, with their business, with their communications, and everything in their life is affected by their self-talk and their inner talk. So I absolutely love this topic, and I could probably sit down and talk another couple of hours on this. So I definitely appreciate that. Let me get Jeff's email here, and I'm sorry, his website. This is Jeff's website, gang. In the comments, it's jeffheggie.com. For those of you that are listening, it is Jeff, GEFFHEGGIE.com. And there you can learn more about Jeff. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Jeff. Now, for those of you, you're welcome. For those of you that are watching and listening, one way that we help our listeners and our audience boost their confidence is to help them create one-page plans for their business. And we do that through our core Simple Marketing Formula. That's where we help you build your one-page marketing plan, clarify your marketing focus, and know exactly what you're going to do to grow and scale your business. And as a matter of fact, last time I talked to Jeff, the course, we had a price on it, but we just decided to offer the course for free. So for a limited time, you can go to this link, persayo.com/joinsmf, and sign up for the course for free. We're starting on, next round is starting on Monday, July 27th, just a few days from now. Get in, bring your friends in. Let's work together, as we believe in simplicity and community. So we're all about everything one page, and we work in a community, in a live environment. We do a lot of breakout sessions. We do a lot of hot seats to make sure that we gain clarity and you're well supported on your questions and on your business. And the amount of clarity that you get, you should read some of the reviews that our previous students have left for us. So go check that out. If you have any questions for me or for Jeff, leave a comment on the show and reach out to Jeff or me. You could follow the show on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, pretty much all over God's green earth. We are present. And so, again, for you to qualify for the draw, you could like or subscribe or comment on the show or tag your friend and ask questions. And your name gets entered into the draw, and we're going to give away more gifts. Jeff, can I get you to give one more gift for this draw?
Absolutely. I've got as I mentioned, I do some business coaching, and I've got another course called Marketing Accelerated, and it's actually, even the bonuses in that course alone are incredible, but it's a 5-module course to help businesses just get more leads, more conversions, everything. I will gift one of those to one of your listeners.
Fantastic. So we're going to do the draw, and we're going to let you know, and we'll connect you with the winner. Now, another way, gang, for you to enter the draw is to subscribe and download and rate our show on Apple Podcast. That qualifies you to enter into the draw and get more gifts from us and from Jeff and our other guests. That's it for me. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Jeff, for your time and for your expertise. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Look forward for our other next shows that are coming up, and keep an eye on the podcast and different platforms. And we will come back with more interesting messages and guests and more education on how to boost your confidence in the future. My name is Mostafa Hosseini, your show for daily confidence for entrepreneurs, with my guest, Jeff Heggie. And I wish you have a great day and a great week. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.